and thanks for joining me. This video is going to be a little bit different than my others. It's something that I've been curious about experimenting with for a while, and that is electronics and robotics in a sense. So the problem that I was trying to solve was at our new apartment, the thermostat is not Wi-Fi controlled, and you have to actually go and push the buttons to turn the air conditioning on or off. And so I knew there was a way that I'd be able to control that via the internet, and so that's what this video is, trying to take a shot at that. So I'll kind of go through what I'm doing as I'm doing it, but then at the very end I'm going to offer a more in-depth explanation while at the same time trying to kind of simplify it. So if you're totally confused while watching it, that's okay. Hopefully at the end my explanation will make a little sense. Okay, so what I'm showing here is servo motors, and I've attached them to just a little piece of wood with some dowels, and I've written the code for the Arduino, which I'll talk about that later on, so that when it receives certain input from the computer, the servo motors turn and the dowel gets pushed forward. And so here I've mounted it on the thermostat. And you can see that when I send certain controls from my computer, the thermostat is actually being adjusted. It's a little hard to tell, but you can probably see the temperature going up and down. Now that's still tethered to the computer, but here I've set up a server with endpoints, and it's only on my local network, so I'm having to go to the 192.168 IP address. But you can see it is actually changing the temperature. So if I go to the up URL, it brings the temperature up. If I go to the down URL, it brings it down. And it's tapping it twice because you actually have to press the button once to wake up the thermostat and a second time to change the temperature. So if that didn't make sense, that's okay. I'll try to simplify it. So the first frame, actually I have it here, the first clip of the video was talking about the Arduino setup, and this is essentially, you know, if you're thinking in terms of robotics, this is like the hands and the feet of the robot. So this Arduino being sort of the brain. So the Arduino is a microcontroller, sort of like in your coffee maker or your dishwasher or really any appliance nowadays, there's a microcontroller. An Arduino is kind of special in that it's actually very generic, so you can hook it up to a lot of different sensors or controls or whatever. It's very much made for prototyping and experimenting. So I've hooked up two servos, which are motors that can be controlled very precisely. These ones specifically are sold for like the remote control industry. So for model airplanes, these would control the steering, or like a remote controlled car, it would control the steering, or maybe other little mechanisms on the car. So I essentially have the Arduino set up to send the right commands for these servos. So it controls it to push it out and actually press the button, but also to retract it. And then, like I said, you have to do that twice because you have to wake up the thermostat, and then you have to send it again to actually change the temperature. And so it's obviously very clunky, but this is sort of the final piece before the thermostat is involved. So then the question is, well, what controls the Arduino? And in this case, it was plugged into my laptop, and the laptop is sending a serial command, so over USB, and it's saying, hey, run that script to increase the temperature, or run that script to decrease the temperature. So it's still sort of tethered. There's definitely a way I could do it wirelessly, but you need like a Wi-Fi chip essentially for the Arduino, which I don't have. And so I just left it with my laptop. Obviously not an ideal situation, and you can see I don't currently have it on the thermostat anymore, but it was an experiment. It was a lot of fun, so I thought it was worth it. So that was the piece from the laptop to the Arduino to the thermostat. Then the question is, how did I get it from my phone to control the thermostat. And really anyone on my home Wi-Fi could have done it. And then had I set up port forwarding, which is a whole nother issue, you could actually control it from the internet and send a command from anywhere. But what I did was I had a server running on my computer, just a simple JavaScript program that was running and waiting for commands or requests more specifically. So when I hit the IP address of my computer with that software running on my computer, the software said, oh, I got a request. Is it a request for up or down? And based on what it was, it ran different software, which then sent a different command to the Arduino. So hopefully that makes sense. Like I said, this is kind of a joke of a video in the sense that I don't think anyone's going to actually go ahead and do this, but it was more of an experiment to see if it was possible, and I had fun with it. Hopefully you had fun with it as well. Thanks for watching.